Sport's very own Jamie Carragher. Jamie, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Really interested to get your reaction to all this. And I mean, really, a bit of a shock that it happened so quickly, perhaps, last night. Where do you think it all went wrong for Steven Gerrard at Villa?
The same for every manager, really, results. And I don't think it was too much of a shock that, the news came out after the game and you saw the reaction of the Villa fans to obviously the performance and the result, and it was just whether the Aston Villa board would let Stevie take the game because it's so close around the corner on Sunday. I think it's against Brentford, but I think the reaction from the Villa fans, maybe they felt the crowd may be a little bit toxic on Sunday, and better for all parties to part ways.
We've had some fans from Villa tweeting us this morning, Jamie, just saying, the players have got a lot to answer for. It seems that whoever gets that job at Aston Villa, it's a tough job at the moment to sort of, lift the club up the table. Do you feel a bit for Steven?
Oh, of course, and as you do for most managers, when they lose the job, they put everything into it. You always look at the players, but every manager knows when he goes into a job, if the players aren't performing at the best, it's the manager who's going to carry the can. So Stevie's well aware that I'm sure he'd be disappointed in certain performances, maybe of individuals and the team. But as I said, when you go into management, you know the price on the ticket, and if the results aren't right or whether the players are letting you down or not performing, it's the manager who carries the can, and that's always be the case, always will be. And, that's the brutal part of football management. I
mean, one player that he perhaps had pinned his hopes on, like you say, was Philippe Coutinho, who bringing him back to the Premier League. I mean, that move sort of hasn't delivered. And why is that, do you think, that, what was meant to be his big summer signing just hasn't really achieved for him on the pitch?
Well, that was one of the big plus points of Stevie going to Aston Villa, and that he could maybe attract players that maybe the manager before couldn't, just through his own name and his contacts within the game. And I think Philippe Coutinho was a real standout, getting him from Barcelona. Obviously hadn't gone well for him, but you think if he could reignite, the ability we've seen in a Liverpool shirt in the past and a Brazil shirt, it could be really special. And he was the one attacking player that Aston Villa, or he bought to the club. A lot of the players have been brought by the previous manager with the funds from Jack Grealish. And that was the big problem for the team. He didn't score enough goals, and Philippe Coutinho was Stevie's man, if you like. And he just didn't produce. And not for a want of trying, but I just think the Premier League for him now is just a bit too quick, too powerful. And it certainly wasn't the same Philippe Coutinho we've seen 3 or 4 years ago.
No, that's right, isn't it? As for Steven, I mean, he did a brilliant job at Rangers. Everything we heard about the job he did at Liverpool as well with the age groups was phenomenal. But then it's been a struggle for him at Aston Villa. What do you think he'll do next? Do you think he has to rebuild from maybe a team in the Championship or elsewhere, or do you think he'll get another Premier League job fairly soon?
I'm really not sure whether Stevie would go back in or wait 12 months. So, I spoke to him a few days ago, actually, about the upcoming games for Aston Villa. And as I said, he's not daft. He knows the situation. But it'll be really interesting. That's not something I've spoken to him about, whether he's the type of guy who wants to be sort of a manager for the next 20 years, or he'll maybe almost pick certain jobs that really appeal to him. I think that's what he's done in the first few jobs that he's picked. He was obviously really close to Liverpool, got a job with the youth team. Rangers, a huge football club in Scotland, completely turned that club around. And then Aston Villa is a huge club in the Premier League, the biggest club in the Midlands. So it's hard to turn that down. So whether Stevie would drop down to the Championship, I'm really not sure. But no, I'll get on the case and let you know.
Thanks very much. We look forward to getting that heads up from you, Jamie. And look, where do you think Villa should look, or who should they be looking at for a replacement? We've put it out on social media this morning, had lots of responses. Yeah. Mauricio Pochettino's being linked with the job quite strongly, perhaps, maybe hopefully for Villa fans. Where would you like to see them go?
Well, listen, any football club has got to be ambitious. And we keep, over the last few weeks, I keep hearing how ambitious, the football club are. And that was why there was more pressure coming on Stevie in the role that he was in. But the names that you mentioned, and Pochettino, I think, would be a great manager. Well, he is, a top manager. I think he'd be a great appointment for Aston Villa. But, you look where they are in the table now, and Pochettino's just come out of PSG, coaching Mbappe and Messi, and I'm sure he'll want to be back at that level in terms of Champions League. But if Villa could get that over the line I think that would be a fantastic appointment for them.
To see what Aston Villa and Steven Gerrard do next. Jamie Carragher, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.